straight talk from our perspective. This is ManCave Live with your host, Lexington Steele, and co-host, Andre Lavelle, and Johnny Depp on LA Talk Radio. Let's get it in.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is your main man, Lexington Steele, and it is indeed April 2nd. Here in a sunny Southern California evening, I am flanked by two gentlemen that you've come to know very well. Johnny Depp to my left, who appears courtesy of FormulaR3.com. What up, JD?
What's up, man? What's happening?
Oh, my God, we're chilling. We got Dr. Drizzy in the house. That's Andre Lavelle. And, of course, as always, what's going on? PCW
That's right,
Fitness.
PCWFit.com.
So what's been going on, gentlemen?
Just on the grind, trying to keep it flowing.
You know what I'm saying? It is a man cave.
Yep.
It's Thursday night, 7 p.m. Pacific.
Yes, sir.
On LATalkRadio.com. Now, making no mistake, you got to call 818-570-5085 if you want to get involved with this hardcore issues. Where do you want to start, gentlemen? I got a few things on the plate, on the palette. Where would you like to start?
Well, since Friday's coming and that's the big movie day, people go out to the movies. Let's talk about what's dropping this Friday.
The Fast, the Furious.
Number 7.
Furious number 7.
Is that the number 7?
Yeah, man.
Wow.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it must be doing numbers.
Apparently,
You know, yeah, to get to 7.
well, you know, the one thing that is it does open this weekend, and one of the things that has made the news over the last couple of days in anticipation of the release is that it may or may not have been noticeable to people over the years. This franchise has really specialized in diversity within cast members, and even in the background, the backup people are cast with a specific intention to create a diverse film experience. Right. Certainly enough, in light of what we saw this past Oscar, which was really pitiful. So much so that it was hashtag Oscars so white.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was a hashtag for this past Oscar show. Now,
It should have been same as usual. Back to basics.
Yeah, I mean, when they said it, I was like, there ain't nothing new.
Yeah. well, this 7, to give you a breakdown, the cast includes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who's Samoan, African American.
Yep.
Father, Junkyard Dog. For those of you who are familiar with WWF.
Is that his father?
Historically, yes.
I thought it
No,
was.
it's not. It's not. I researched it. His father was a wrestler, though. He's a professional
Yeah,
wrestler.
but it's not
But it's
Junkyard
Junkyard
Dog.
Dog.
Sure?
I think
Yes.
positive.
Oh,
I forget
so
the cat's name.
So how did that happen?
What's?
Such that, I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah,
such
he's
that,
doing his research now, but it's not the Junkyard Dog.
Okay.
It's not the Junkyard Dog.
That's interesting. But moving along, we've
Yeah.
got Dwayne Johnson. We've got Christopher Ludacris Bridges.
Wow.
And Tyrese Gibson.
Tyrese Gibson.
Okay, 2 brothers. We got Hispanic performer Michelle Rodriguez. Thai martial artist Tony Jaa.
Oh, Tony.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the...
I guess he's in this one.
I might go see it then.
That's what's up, man.
And here we go. Also, another brother, Dejon Hanso. Is in this one. Of course, the late Paul Walker.
Jaimon Hansu.
Right.
Was it?
Jaimon Hansu.
Jaimon
Yeah.
Hanso.
Former model turned actor.
Yeah. Everybody
Wow.
knows Hanso from he was in a big blockbuster movie this past summer. The Universe, Saviors of the Universe or whatever it was.
Oh, he was in a mega hit.
Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. What was that trade?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And
Saviors of the Universe.
close enough.
Close enough. Right in the same vein. The
So-
Saviors of the Universe.
His big breakout film was Give Us Free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great movie.
Exactly.
Now, what movie was that titled?
One of the...
Wow, put him on the spot.
Yeah.
Put him on put him on the Jeopardy spot. Yo, that's crazy.
What was it? It wasn't. Gosh,
Amistad?
Amistad.
Yeah. Give us free.
Well, but no. Most famously, and I'll trump you on this one, Dre. If you harken back to Janet Jackson's video, that was the world's
Love
first.
Will Never Do Without You.
Right, that was
Right.
Han Solo's first introduction to major media. The stark contrast of his ebony skin and the opaque, almost opaque whiteness of the clothes that he was wearing. It was
Right.
shot very editorial,
Yep.
making for a very memorable music video experience. Certainly enough.
Had
Because
that
it
all
was
on his
photo- it
black
was
on his
shot
black
by,
skin.
Yeah.
All on his black skin.
What is it? Photographer. I can't think of his name.
He
right now.
married what's her name?
Not
Didn't-
Richard Avedon.
He married Russell Simmons' ex-wife, who was a model, Lee.
Yeah.
Kimura.
Kimura.
Kimura Lee. Yeah.
Are they still
Nah,
together?
they separated, but he got like 2 or 3 kids by her.
Yeah.
I think
I don't-
2.
Some say that Russell Simmons really wasn't too interested, if you will. But I mean, it's crazy. A guy that going to Russell Simmons. I mean, obviously, a landmark. We don't need to go into him because how do we get to him?
Herb
from
Ritz.
Yeah,
That's who
fast?
shot Janet Jackson's video.
And what other videos has he
Herb
shot?
Ritz. Herb Ritz shot a lot of videos
Lot of
before
power.
he passed.
Okay.
And his black and white photography.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what.
Nah, but it's packed with a lot of stars, man. So
Yeah.
I guess and Ludacris, man, I'm proud of that brother, man, because he's come a long way, man.
Very much
Luda,
so.
Luda,
He need to make that money. What, he got like 12 kids?
stop it. Somebody, what's name roasted him, man? Something awful.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Martha Stewart.
He did a great job.
Man, yeah,
That
she
was
roasted him.
Yeah, but who wrote
writers?
Who wrote Martha
Yeah,
Stewart's
her
roast?
material.
Yeah, I don't know. Whoever
Her
did.
delivery was good though.
Yeah, but whoever wrote that was going in.
It was going. Yeah, because Luda. You've noticed Luda did not smile.
Nah, he didn't.
He kind of was like.
Right, yeah, he's kind of like had
know,
that fake grin, but
yeah.
I was like, "Woo, that's kind of hitting below the belt." But
Not for nothing, gentlemen. Are people out there? If you're not familiar with Ludacris's, is it his wife now or their fiance at this
I
point?
think it's fiance. I think.
Right?
I think so. I think it's fiance.
His wife is like a fucking 12 on a 10-point system.
Yeah.
She's a doctor as well. What a great choice. So people research Ludacris's wonderful fiance, very beautiful woman, who has a very bright future in her own right.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I'm just putting this on the table. Do you think she would have dated him if he was just kept being a rapper, or do you think his?
Well, he was successful.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying. Or do you think his Hollywood status now? He's an A-list actor almost. He's on his way.
But before he was a rapper, he was a disc jockey.
He was
a
in a
radio
disc jockey.
personality.
But I
so
guess
he's always
my
been-
question is this: do you think she would have married him if he just would remain in a rap status?
Well, gentlemen, I would say
Because
that
he's Hollywood now. He's an actor, so
I would say
got
this,
some status to him.
given the fact that he had been a radio personality in a major market such as Atlanta, I would wager to say that his personality is large enough that he would be able to
Really?
attract a woman
Okay.
of that caliber. Number one, and number two, he's not a bad-looking guy.
No.
So
I'm-
taking those
I'm-
into
I'm just-
consideration,
I-
he might have garnered that type of quality.
I'm just curious because
Right.
you look at some, and, maybe that was like Russell and Kimura are a bad example, but if you look at Russell, and Russell bagged
Well,
Kimura when he was like,
Come on, we all know money brings.
Right,
Well,
that's my-
and bearing in mind, Russell
Right.
Simmons was known for traveling within the highest of high circles of models.
Oh, yeah, that's his
He
thing.
that's always
Yeah,
been his
yeah,
thing.
that's always been his
So
thing.
if it had not been Kimura, who was a runway model of
A
New
runway,
York
yeah.
caliber,
That's how she got
international
that.
caliber, he might have,
She's the one that came up because since Runway, she kind of let herself go.
Yeah, she ain't got that money because she had baby fat and all that. So
Yeah. But I would say that I probably like her more as she was since she had been married than what she probably looked like as a model, because given her height, she's at least 5'10", big woman. If she was skinny, I probably would not find myself as attracted.
Yeah, she was skinny. You saw early pictures of
Early
her?
pictures.
Yeah,
If you see her
yeah.
then and now, it's like I can
she
see
done
why
beefed
brothers
up.
be like, "Yo,
Yeah, she done beefed up.
you know what I'm saying?" You see what I'm saying? Been over a little, and I heard she's a bit of a, she likes to get it in too. So I wouldn't.
I could see that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would definitely be ready to be called off the bench if Russell Simmons or any of these guys looked down on the bench and said, "Okay,
Hey, as long as
I'm
you got
sending
that
Lex
rocket in
Steele
your
in."
pocket, that R3 baby,
the
you
formula.
can send her to the moon.
So The Rock's dad's name was Rocky.
Rocky Johnson.
Yeah, a Canadian wrestler.
Okay.
He's a
Yeah.
brother though.
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Now, what was his? Did he have any claim to fame, or what was his caricature?
In the 70s. I mean, he was known in the 70s.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
He old school.
So that was before we would have even been aware of. Okay, so I wonder how that got out that the Junkyard Dog was his father.
Somebody wasn't doing their research properly.
And they
But
put it out
Johnson.
there.
Yeah, because Rocky Johnson, Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
I don't know the Junkyard Dog's real name, but I don't think his last name is Johnson.
Ah, okay,
So
okay.
that's probably what it was.
Okay.
But
Rocky was
yeah,
known. He's a big dude.
yeah,
Okay.
Rocky Johnson. But I mean, look, The Rock went from wrestling to now he's like a megastar. And
He made the most money last year of all actors in all male actors in
Really?
Hollywood. He was the highest grossing actor in 2014.
get out.
The Rock.
I would have never thought that.
I mean, hey,
But
you
big
know,
ups to him, man.
and what a pedigree. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
University of Miami,
Exactly.
All-American, NFL draft pick,
Right.
who goes on to wrestle in the WWE.
Look at the
develops one of the-
progression,
look
man.
at that-
Yeah, that progression is that's what I applaud him for.
Well, he filled a big void
that he
in
did.
the action hero
That he
genre.
did.
I mean,
Timing,
Stallone
timing.
and Schwarzenegger. Those
Yeah.
were the big two guys.
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
went from guys who actually looked like they could handle themselves to like,
Guys could handle it.
Right. Yeah,
We've
like you
seen The
said.
Rock kick ass for
Yeah.
years before he got in.
But
But
It's-
before The Rock got in there, they had gone to regular guys.
Yeah.
Die Hard, Bruce Willis. Come on. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, so the timing was on because
Yeah.
they used to try to use Hulk Hogan, but I think it was more parody and jokingly
Yeah.
with him.
I mean,
He wasn't serious.
A Hulk Hogan was a celebrity. He was always Hulk Hogan.
He was always on, but
in the
yeah,
role.
but he never. But when they tried to put him in different shows, like remember he played in the A-Team, he was really never outside of himself because
Right.
he was always like, "Yeah, brother," and I'm
because
like,
that void was there because they tried to fill it with Brian Bosworth. They tried to fill it with a
yeah,
lot of
and
guys.
it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
But it
So yeah,
wasn't-
the
yeah.
timing was on, man. So
You know,
he
and-
stepped in and grabbed it.
What I like about The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, is his acting chops. If we look at the
Progression. Not bad. He's not
the
bad,
progression, or
man.
I'm saying
Yeah.
the dearth of the cornucopia, if you will, of roles he's tackled from Disney, kids
Yeah,
movies.
dude, his range is.
You know what I'm saying? Heavy movies, dramatic movies. He's had a number of dramatic movies where you may not necessarily Walking Tall,
Yeah,
right?
Wow.
But it's still an action movie.
Of course, what I'm simply saying is he's been everything from likable to perhaps unlikable, and that's a pretty good,
Yeah,
quality.
I mean, surprisingly enough, for him to be a wrestler and not have been an actor at all, I
Well-
think he had just enough character.
I would
enough,
say-
he had enough charisma
That
to
be
yeah,
a
to
wrestler,
transfer.
you have to be an actor
Yeah,
as well.
right.
Certainly.
Because
Big-
they're
big
playing
acting.
characters.
Yeah, they're playing character. That's my
and it's
point.
over the top.
And it's
Right.
almost like playhouse
Exactly.
acting because it's almost operatic, if you will. Whereas you don't. It's live. Number one, you don't get a second chance. You don't get a second take, and then you are performing in front of an arena of 30,000. So The Rock, like you said, he was grooming
Yeah,
himself. It was just a
right.
matter of
He had the
saying,
look, too.
right? Does he become a theatrical actor or a live performer, which he had been as a WWE mega superstar?
And I think that's what helped the transition be a little easier. I mean, of course, he had to go to take some acting classes.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it made the transition a lot easier because he was so charismatic. It's the same thing with Will Smith. When Will Smith first came in, they say he was horrible. He was forgetting his lines and everything. Took a few
In
classes.
Fresh Prince, or
right,
okay,
Fresh Prince.
No, he didn't forget his lines.
He did.
He overdid his lines. He knew
overdid his
everybody
lines.
else's lines.
But no,
actually.
but when he first came on, I think Tatiana, he had a special, and Tatiana Ali, they was always getting into it because Will would forget his lines, and I guess he just got to the point like, you know what, I'm just gonna remember everybody's lines, and that's when he overdid it, and you would find yourself in early episodes.
He'd be
lip-
moving his lips, saying to other people's
right,
lines.
other people's
'cause he
lines
knew
while
the
they're
whole
saying
and
it.
script.
that would mess them up.
No, it
No.
wouldn't
Or-
mess him up, but it just looked so awkward. But my
Okay.
point was, he was always charismatic,
Yeah.
even as the Fresh Prince, even as the
Yeah.
rapper, the Fresh Prince.
Well, you got to remember, by the time he did Fresh Prince of Bel Air, we knew of him from
There
Fresh
you
Prince
go.
and Jazzy
right,
J.
right. Because remember, he won the
Jazzy
Grammy.
Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff.
Yeah, he won the Grammy.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
kind of
Parents
and then he
should
did,
understand.
Yeah. And did he do 6 Degrees separation
was-
before that? Or?
No. He was
After.
already a rap.
Okay.
He was already a star in the hip hop
But he
music.
already had Fresh Prince before he did
he
60
had Fresh
Okay,
Prince.
Yeah,
got you.
that was his first theatrical,
his
and way to
first.
come out the box. I mean, certainly enough. Now, one of the things I want to bring up, the one thing about this diversity in Furious and the whole campaign as it has been. What do you guys feel about, the consideration for The Rock and Vin Diesel as biracial, but the ability to pass brown paper bags? Is that still evident in Hollywood as we may be seeing, as demonstrated by The Rock and Vin Diesel, who is biracial?
Yeah, because they're more digestible to the American system, so to speak.
And it's the way that they came out. They
Right.
weren't black, so to speak.
Well,
They-
neither one of them look identifiably African American.
That's my
Make
point.
you no mistake.
Well, one
They got enough
because Diesel's hair has always been shaved,
Mm.
but he got some tight little curls up in there. He let that hair grow out.
Right, but they're they're not African American. They are, but they don't look African American. They look just enough. They got just enough to
Maybe
have
like,
that Mandingo.
or maybe to
Yo,
really
I'm just
possibly identify them slightly as a man of color, just
Yeah.
indeterminately.
Right.
Okay. And then
Well,
Vin Diesel has never claimed to be biracial, although we know that to be fact.
You got to look at the way that you come into the game. He came in via sci-fi, Riddick, where.
Well, what about Saving Private Ryan?
But no,
Was predated the Riddick campaign.
yeah, but it wasn't a big role.
He played an Italian
Yeah.
soldier as American,
he
but he
never
was of
was-
Italian
he
descent.
wasn't
in Saving Private
black.
Ryan.
yeah,
per se.
He could be anything. He can be
Latino.
He can be Latino. He can be Iranian, Middle East. He could pass. So
Yeah.
he's whatever he is. He
And
can
his
pass
PR
for a lot
people
of things. And yeah, they know how to
dodged the
market
question.
him.
They
Right.
marketed
Right.
him properly.
They know how to
well,
market
not
him.
when they probably.
Well,
but they marketed him
maximizing-
in a way
They
that,
Maximizing
that's why
viability,
That's
if you
why he
will.
continues to work. And The Rock,
and he came in as the action guy.
Right.
He filled that
Oh,
void.
there you
Triple
go.
X.
There
yeah,
you go. He's
he
the
was,
That was a
he
great
big
campaign of
dude.
his.
He was buff, Triple X,
because when I-
nondescript.
Right. When I first saw him, I thought it was like, oh, he's a white dude. But
I thought he was Italian myself.
See?
You know what I'm saying? But in
See?
actuality, he has his acting chops have been developed on the stage. So he actually does have skill set as an actor.
Diesel?
Well, there-
Vin Diesel,
there you-
yeah.
well, there you have
he
it.
was a
He
theatrical actor.
Everything. He kind of reminds me of Sylvester Stallone. He's got the deep voice and he just.
Well,
Yeah,
again,
but for that type of character.
But you know what? Again, like you said, Dre, he filled a void.
Yeah.
He's that dude. And Dwayne Johnson, I mean,
It's the
he ain't
same
call-
situation.
same-
He
he's not
came
even,
up-
not even called
the
The Rock
character-
anymore. He's
No,
just called
it's
Dwayne
Dwayne
Johnson.
Yeah.
Or Mark Wahlberg.
But
Marky
the thing
Mark.
is, he came in as The Rock. He was
Right.
already known as The Rock.
Right.
So he had a marketability.
Right.
And The Rock was nondescript. As
When
the
he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
He definitely.
He
I-
was more. He
Nah,
played up
he-
on the Samoan
Right,
more
right.
so than
He definitely-
African
yeah.
American.
Right.
Well,
yeah, of
well,
course.
he's got his hair is
So
that's
therefore-
not
If you
like
look
a-
at early pictures of him in Miami, he got a curly fro. And we know, okay, he got some African American blood in him. You look
Yeah.
at his father, African American. He got a fro the whole 9 yards. But I think sometimes in certain situations, like a Hollywood or things of that nature, they play down that African American side so maybe they can get further in the game. I mean,
Hey, whatever.
I mean,
works.
it's messed up, but hey, dude, what you gonna do? I guess you gotta eat. You gotta play the rules.
It's a game.
It's a game, dude. You know, if you gonna play chess or checkers.
yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something. The dudes who's writing the checks, they playing chess.
Well, to be seen,
They know how to
as-
position people and things of that nature, and they know,
and it's a head game. You gotta
It's
look at this. Okay, to be an action star, kicking people's ass, being that powerful image on the screen. Come on, they gonna let a chocolate dude do all
Yo,
that?
you know who?
Well,
can-
I mean, I think
no,
so.
but you know what? You know
And
what?
we've
you
seen
know
a
who-
number of,
you know who could really play those roles? Wesley Snipes. But see, here's the thing, because he's just as athletic, and he's a martial artist.
super martial artist.
He could do this. He could play the same roles.
My
But
Jai White. But the thing is, the budgets, the market,
right.
tapping into that. I mean, it's come on. Yeah.
Well, it has been suggested that African American actors only sell within the continental U.S.
That's bull.
Now
That's
as
what
we-
they say.
But we saw that as evidence with what they claimed with the Equalizer, with Denzel
Yeah,
Washington.
that's
Will
what
Smith
they
sells.
That's what they
He
say.
was the biggest. I mean, they planned his movies to be released at a certain time so it could be the big summer blockbuster.
Remember,
International.
right?
Right.
And it's the same thing. And to make this reference is almost like with hip hop music. Like they say, oh, hip hop music, it don't sell worldwide.
Oh,
That's the biggest phenomenon in the world. You go to Japan, kids are hip hopping. You go to
Right.
Australia,
They
kids
call
are
it
hip hopping.
b-boying out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
it's- yeah.
b-boying.
Mhm.
You go over to Europe, Prague and those places.
Right.
I'm sure there's graffiti and the whole night. So they're keeping the culture alive. So when
It
people
goes more
say
to
when people say they
once
don't
again-
we don't move units and we don't make sales, that's BS.
But it's more about the insecurity of the power structure of
Say it.
America than any place else. If it's really about dollars, that's all that should matter. So if you're gonna make a movie and people dig it, what does it matter who's the star of the film? Really?
Well,
you know.
I mean, okay. Another thing that we got to point out before we move on from Furious 7, people, which does open tomorrow, is we have Ronda Rousey. I hear it's an incredible fight scene between her and what's super hot, Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh yeah.
She
put her
every
foot in her
movie.
Michelle
Have you heard
screwed up
about
as
it?
well, yeah.
So what happened?
Oh, what she was saying about, there's no racism and, yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez said that?
Yeah, yeah.
As a Latina
Exactly.
actress,
Exactly.
she has got to
caught up.
experience.
She got caught up. She was drinking the Kool-Aid.
Okay.
you know.
And she feels
she
that
got
there is a
checked on it.
lack of racism even that she's experienced.
Yeah. So she got caught drinking the Kool-Aid, and people checked her on it, and she changed it a little bit.
It is.
It's
a
the
case-
illusion of inclusion. Once again,
Right.
like I said, once you get in the Hollywood game, it is a game, but you can't fall for the okie doke and start believing that it don't exist outside of your bubble.
But and playing devil's advocate from her standpoint, one could argue that once you have made it, you have to fight to keep your position, as competitive as it was in your ascension up the ladder. Once you reach that plateau or that next level of acceptance, you got to do everything
But
you
has
can.
she really made it even? I mean, she plays the same character and everything. She's the hard butch
Latina,
chick.
but and fitting that fantasy and that stereotype of that. But I'm simply saying, if you have a lane and you are traveling fitfully in that lane, and you see somebody coming up in your rear view, are you going to block? You may not block, but you may make sure you keep your foot on the pedal such that you don't lose your position.
Because the crazy thing is just like they said, like with record deals, they say it's easy to get the record deal. It's harder to keep it. So it's easy to, not,
You know?
I'm not going to say it's easy to get the part, but it's easy to like, oh, you have a better chance. Like, okay, you can go in there and you can compete. And if you're good enough, you get the part. But once you're in, you got to maintain because you got so many vultures coming in trying to take your position. Now she may play that typecast role of her being a butch, but I tell you, there's a lot of other Latino girls out there who look like her, want her spot,
Oh, no doubt.
and
No
they gonna
doubt.
fight for that because if there's a lot of Latino roles like that, she's gonna be the first one they look at.
And the thing is as long as she remains as attractive as she is, there's no reason to replace her or supplant her.
Right, but
To say
as
that
far as
there's
her,
no,
there's no racism.
racism
She
in,
just
in
got in.
Hollywood, or she
Yeah.
hasn't come across it,
Right.
then she's fooling herself because
Right.
she's not Meryl Streep.
But
Meryl can play. She's done everything from comedy to drama, and she's considered the top of the food chain.
Right.
Michelle Rodriguez is.
Well, you know,
But my point of being, wouldn't you agree? And I'll make this statement brief. That what she has said is just a statement by her saying, "Look, for the powers that be, I want you to know that I'm on board." And I personally, gentlemen, I can't fault her for doing whatever she can to maintain that position. I mean, hey, you got it on lockdown.
I get that.
I can't fault her so much.
I get that.
Except
but
for Terrence Howard, we can get into that.
I understand that, but I see
No.
what Dre is saying, and the piggyback of what you're saying. She has to realize that okay, you made it, but it don't take long for them to cut you. You know,
Yeah,
because
she's
you're
in the
expendable.
ensemble. She's in the ensemble cast of a nice franchise.
Right.
But other than the
Right.
franchise,
Once
what
that
is she doing?
stops, once that franchise stops,
Right.
then the reality check has to be cashed. She's good right now because she's insulated. She's insulated within the series of Furious. They up to number 7 right now. That's crazy. That's bananas. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when she comes out of that bubble, it's just like somebody being signed for a long period of time. And once they're signed, they go out and they try the free agent market, and they see what it's like out there. They're like, oh, it's cold out here.
Or as a part of a group, and you go solo.
Yeah, you go. Yeah, you go solo. You leave the group. Like how can you stand on your own? Can you stand on your own?
Well,
Can you lead a movie? Are they gonna give you a starring
Right.
role?
But you know what? The thing
But
about
let
it,
her
I think,
ride.
I think
Let her ride it out.
I
man.
think she should. And the thing about it, is, ultimately, and you know the entertainment movies better than myself, mainstream movies better than myself. I do think that this type of campaign that she's participating up to number 7, I think other roles will come her way. I will continue to come her way. I mean, for all these stars.
I
mean,
would say, let's see what the box office does, and if there's a Furious 8, because Furious was built on Paul Walker.
Well, Paul Walker and Vin Diesel.
And Vin Diesel.
Right.
Yeah. But Vin Diesel's last solo film bombed. His
Which
last
was-
Riddick was garbage. That's why he probably came back to the Furious. Because he had left Furious for a second. Remember, he left. He was like, I don't want to do that.
Oh, so you'd heard that he had decided to leave the campaign, leave the franchise?
No, he had left it. That's when they had Bow Wow and they were trying to read. They did all these.
Oh, when it got corny, like
Yeah.
draft, Tokyo draft,
Yeah.
it kind of
Yeah,
went
'cause
through
he
a,
left.
Yeah, it
a
got
nadir. Yeah.
Yeah, it got
'cause he
cold.
left.
Yeah.
Got cold out there, but he
And
came back.
Came back.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
He started feeling himself. I don't need this Furious.
But you know what? But with the Latina sister, I mean, my thing is like enjoy the ride, man. While you on the merry-go-round, enjoy it, man.
Yeah.
Because one day it is gonna stop, and then you're gonna have to see what it's really like out there. Because like Dre said, she got in with under a good flag.
Mm-hmm.
She's under a good flag. She riding. It's all good. But once that flag stops,
Well, now, is it possible, given her role, that role does not necessarily have to be a Latina actress in particular. It could be an athletic African-American actress. We are seeing the ascension of Ronda Rousey being pushed all the way to the top of mainstream media in so many diverse platforms. Her inclusion in Furious 7. Could it be that if there's a Furious 8, could we see Ronda Rousey maybe supplanting a Michelle Rodriguez? I don't know who won the fight. I will find out. I'll probably see it very, very soon. Could we see Ronda Rousey supplanting Michelle Rodriguez or this other young lady who's in the movie, which I can't find her name. This one on the very end. I don't know if she was in the last one.
I see the Furious franchise being almost like the Expendables franchise. Whoever's hot, whatever's going to bring the people in, they're just going to rotate. You'll have the main cast, and then you throw in some. Rhonda's hot right now, so everybody's throwing her a bone. Oh, be in the movie, you know. Oh, chick fight. Oh, it's hot right now. She's a champion, and so as long as and the UFC has a lot of clout,
Yeah.
so we're going to see more of that thrown in. Tony Jaa, he's got another movie coming out. He's trying to break into the American market more. You know, he's a big star internationally. But U.S., a lot of people don't know him outside of
well, see that.
Ong Bak One.
That's
you know.
Hollywood. Hollywood is they're capitalists. They're gonna if you hot right now, let's go ahead and make money off of this real fast. Throw that one to the side. Who's next? I mean, it's a machine.
What people don't realize
It's a machine,
that
and,
we
you know.
aren't privy to a lot of the times is that there are other markets outside of the U.S. that's huge. The Asian market is massive. Them Chopsaki films make buku bucks.
Right.
You know,
You said
Bollywood.
What'd you call them? The what?
The Chopsaki films.
Chop Saki.
That's what the karate movies.
Oh, okay.
Chopsaki
I never heard that.
Yeah.
But the Bollywood.
Right.
is
Bollywood.
huge.
Yeah.
Millions
India.
of people.
Yeah.
Billions.
Yeah.
The Philippines and the Thai films, that's where Tony Jaa came from. The Korean films, they're coming up.
Yeah, every country has their own market. Yeah,
the
that's true.
technology is such that now it doesn't cost so much to make a decent movie. And everyone's studied the U.S. market on how to do it. And the Asian market, U.S. are looking at them now because they have the Crouching Tiger and all that. We're just now getting, you know what I'm saying, the
Right.
special effects, the fight scene, the choreography.
No,
So
we still nutting off of what's the name?
I think if
Mission Impossible.
yeah,
Yeah.
if more if more of us stepped outside of our comfort zone and pursued going elsewhere,
Elsewhere in terms of outside the United States.
yeah,
Right.
and that would open up some doors.
Well, on another note, I wanted to throw this out there. We do cover we like to cover so many different topics. In the world of sport, those of you who are familiar with the plight of one Michael Sam, who a couple years ago was coaching
he's
for the
popped
year
back
at
in the
Missouri.
news again.
Right.
Yeah.
Now he has not found a home on a professional team. He will be on the next Dancing with the Stars, although I wonder how he is a star of anything, having his only claim to fame is that he came forward as a gay man.
And that's his claim to fame.
Right.
Because we're in the age of you really don't have to have any talent. If you got something spicy and juicy,
Hey, Kim Kardashian.
there
Well-
you go.
well,
man. Come on, man. Come on.
reason
And
why
I
I
still want to know what's her talent, but that's for another topic for another day.
I don't know.
Leave that
But
alone.
no, the
Leave
reason
it
why I
alone.
brought this up was because a couple days ago he made statements saying that the reason he believes he's not or has not found a home on the NFL team is because he came forward, number one, and that number two, there are a number of gay and or bisexual NFL players who don't have the courage, the cojones, to come forward like he has.
Man,
And that if they had the courage to come forward, but he doubts it, saying that basically saying that he's the only one that had the balls to come forward, and all those other guys are fearful of losing their position. And there was some backlash, not only from a number of current players who made comments anonymously, okay, as well as some former players who also spoke out against his erroneous comments as to whether someone has courage or not. Does this beg the question of another man's courage?
See, no, listen, man. You want to get into that, Dre? You want to sink your teeth into that? Because I want to sink my teeth into that.
All right. He came forward. He thought it was going to go one way. It went another way.
Right.
Now he's bitter and salty. And these other
Out of a
cats
job.
these other cats are making their money. And basically, I feel like this. No one cares who you sleeping with. That's your business. You chose to put it out there, so now you reap the repercussions of your decision. Personally, I think he took some bad advice from some people. He thought he was going to be glorified as I came
Kinda
out
like that-
first,
like
and
that
then
NBA
is
player.
raising
Yeah.
men, and he going get a parade, and everybody's
Right.
going to be, you're the one. Hey, he did it.
Yeah.
And it backfired on him. So now you go dance on the stars, and
That'll be it?
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, one can argue with in regards to Michael Sam, look, you ran a 5.1 40, which for what you're trying to vie for in the NFL is not exceptionally fast, while not exceptionally slow. May not a roster make with a 5.1 40. They said he is a very poor practice player. If you're trying to make an NFL squad, you have to be busting, pardon the pun, busting your ass.
That's true.
To make that squad.
Right.
To make that squad. I don't know. But it's just the
Busting
notion that, these statements were not, it seems that Michael Sam continues to make an enemy of more people than he's making friends with. And who knows? I mean, here's the thing about it. If he claims that there are players within the league that are either homosexual or bisexual, right? They are successfully in the league with no one caring or knowing about their sexuality, which meant that if he'd have kept his to himself, no ask, no tell. Who gives a flying fuck as long as he plays well on Sunday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, any night that they're having an NFL game. Who cares? He should have kept. I'm sure he finds that he should have kept his sexuality to himself. If someone would have outed him, that would have been their problem. As long as he could have been on an NFL team by that time.
And you know what? Like Dre was saying, he thought the society is forward progressive thinking because gay rights and all that. So
well, maybe society is as reflected in his inclusion in the Dance with the Stars.
Yeah, but what I'm
saying in terms of the insulated environment, the testosterone-ridden environment of the NFL.
Right, but see what
I'm saying? He may not have a place there.
No, but he doesn't. But here's my point. He probably thought if he put it out there, and like Dre said, he'd be open arm, like, oh, okay, they accepted him, and then the NFL wouldn't make a big deal because they knew the backlash that he would get. Mm-hmm. But what it all boils down to, dude, is like, yo, you didn't play well enough to make the squad.
Right.
You didn't play well enough. And you brought all that attention on yourself. Like, yo, just go play the game. Like you said, nobody cares about your sexuality. And if there are gay players in the NFL, they're not talking about it because you gotta think to yourself, why they're not saying anything about it?
Right.
Because they know if they do, there are consequences to it. But you want to be...
Like
save the children. Hey, look, I'm the one. I'm going to stand up for nah, dude. Like,
you don't have to.
No,
just go play ball.
Well, like Lex said, you got to look at the sports world. It's testosterone driven.
Right.
It's old school.
We don't want to hear that.
Homeboy.
We don't want to hear it.
You know what?
Exactly.
I got to take a shower with you.
See, and then now they're thinking and everything. But if you keep it to yourself,
and people cannot equate homosexual lifestyle to racism. It's not the same thing. If you go to work and you don't tell nobody that you in love with your same sex, nobody cares.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like I can take off and just be something else.
Nah,
So
you got to wear that.
Yeah, so it's not the same thing, man.
Right,
so all
right.
of this, I have to come out, I got to be myself. Unless even if he came out, it's not like he can wear a pink uniform. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And the thing
there's no individuality in the sport.
Yeah, and
it's uniform.
What I would like, if the whole Missouri team knew of his identification as a gay man, it mattered not to them. Quite honestly, I think that he should have never came forward with it. And not that there's anything wrong with being a gay man. It's just the notion that would not have been put on the plate in regards to his evaluation in trying to make a squad. Right. By coming forward, he made that a part of the equation.
And you notice
making an NFL squad is hard enough as it is.
And look, and then like you said, you notice something like people. They were looking at his performance, but they would always put this on. But his sexuality. It's like, dude, see what you put more on the plate than you
at a hypercritical environment already.
You don't need.
You're making your numbers even more
but
challenging and difficult.
You want to be the hero and be like, hey, look, and I stand up. I'm like, okay, I mean, if that's how you get down, that's cool, man.
I mean,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
but don't bring it to certain environments where it's gonna hinder you or it's gonna backfire.
Especially if it matters not in the final equation.
Dude, it don't matter.
Who was the gay boxer? The guy, it was a Latino dude. He was like
he was flamboyant with it, as I remember with it, right?
Yeah.
He's pretty good though.
De La Hoya.
No. De La Hoya,
cross-dressing and all that.
Yeah, but that doesn't make.
No, he didn't come out in the ring, but
no, I think that with De La Hoya, maybe I'm saying he was probably on one and
on what?
There's a lot of recreational activities that can lead you to go beyond yourself. I may not know about those things personally, but I know that they are out there.
Dude, I don't know.
But
man,
it has
listen. That's some hidden.
I wouldn't do it, but
that's my point.
Okay.
That's my point.
My point.
There's a hidden agenda there.
But
like
the
for
point I was
a
making,
man to put on his wife's panties or her dress. Come on, dude. There's something deeply rooted down there.
Or they could have just been a nice role. It could have been a role-playing night.
You gonna put that on the public?
That has nothing to do with. That has nothing to do with coming out as a gay male. In the sport, though.
Right.
And that
you were talking about a guy.
I was talking about a boxer who came out in the ring, flamboyant, wearing his little rainbow shorts, and all the.
Was he whooping ass?
He
wasn't
had some
bad.
skills.
Okay,
a lightweight, like a smaller dude.
He's a smaller dude.
So,
but in Latin cultures, that machismo you know, if he gets his ass whooped, they're gonna put a little bit more on it because they're like, who wants to get beat by the gay dude? You know what I'm saying? So
Yo,
if he
listen.
gets whooped a little more, had nobody known that he was gay,
Yo,
he just been
don't
you know,
sleep. There's some gay dudes out there that can fight, dude.
I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
They're
not-
nice. I
I
ain't seen
mean,
something
in
like
the boxing
in
world or
fighting,
in real
just
life?
period.
Okay.
Well, it's
Just
still
period.
dudes, yeah.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm saying,
But we
putting
take it
that
for
on
granted.
it, putting
Like you-
that on it in
right.
sport, you setting yourself up for, you know.
That's true. Yeah, you setting yourself up. You put a dress on.
Because think about it, you go into the you know,
How'd that
the,
leak?
the
though?
press conference. He's flamboyant. Now they looking at it, and they throwing jabs.
come in there with
you know, coming
mascara
with
on.
the gay jokes. You know, they got
My
the
man
gay
come in
jokes
there with
and jumping
mascara
off,
and lip gloss,
and it
just whoop-
distracts from
Just
the
whoop
sport.
somebody's ass.
I think it distracts from the sport.
No, I see what you're saying because it's that like you said, the machismo factor in like wrestling or boxing. It's very heavy because they're brutal sports. You know, it's not like it's not like tennis, and nothing against tennis, but it's not as combatable. It's not as it's not as much one's a fight and one's pretty much a competition. You know, they're both competitions, but one is more brutal than the other. So yeah, I don't think it got. And even with football, that's a contact sport. So yeah, just don't mix, man. Should just kept his mouth shut.
Well, I think the presence of homosexuality has been a part of combat sports since the beginning of time. I mean, if you look at some of the if we even go back to historic
Wrestling,
the wrestling
Greek.
within the Greeks, where they would wrestle Olympiads, were performed in the nude by the athletes. So that would include wrestling. Now, given the coincidental
That's
history
where a lot of
of
that stuff started over there.
the part that man loved was a part of that culture that was acceptable, and of course you put that together with the Olympiads in which wrestlers were wrestling bare-assed, if you will. You never know. I mean, that full Nelson might be a full Willie. I mean,
He pin you down and do a little extra, like, hey,
Hey,
But a
Each
lot of
his
crazy.
own,
I
man.
mean, they
full mountain back in the day was that was a motherfucker.
there's two grown men that's fighting ass naked, rolling around
Yeah.
like.
What's up with that armbar?
I mean, their mindset was different back then.
Right.
I mean,
it's different.
they messed with kids. They did all kind of crazy
Wow.
stuff. You know,
That
that's
was a long
where the
time ago.
concept of cherubs and all that came from. You know, and the priests and the altar boys.
Hey
and all,
man,
it's all crazy.
whatever floats your boat, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here to throw rocks, man.
Well, one of the things that we will definitely address, gentlemen, as we do prepare to close out tonight, I did want to get us to the situation that took place in Atlanta, where there were 11 of 12 defendants that were convicted of racketeering and other crimes in the Atlanta public school system, where a cheating scandal has broken, in which up to as many as 20 teachers and educators have been indicted for helping cheat at no less than whereas a 50,000 student school district, wholesale cheating and supplying of answers to statewide tests. So it's almost like in an environment where our kids would need to be best educated to compete in a very difficult and challenging environment for an African American youth, the educators were making it very, very easy to pass these statewide tests by providing and allowing the cheating and facilitating the cheating. Now, 11 of 12 have been convicted. So we are seeing the book being thrown at educators who effectively have defrauded the youth of Atlanta by providing them with cheat materials for these
some
exams.
would say that the tests themselves are biased. So
And that is the main argument. The tests are slanted anyhow, and that these educators were attempting to level the playing field. Is that
You know what I think? I think the test may be biased, but I think the overall picture is the morality of it. Like cheating is not good. It's just not.
right?
It's not good because it handicaps the person in the long run. And as the school system sets anyway, they're not really teaching the kids. They're kind of like they're just informing. They're just giving them information and they're regurgitating the information back. That's not educating the kids.
Well, that in itself, that's the point. That it's
because if you look at
the system is unbalanced.
But if you look at the I'm getting deep into it. But if you look at the word education, the Latin base of it, educate is to bring out. So you have to bring out what's already in that child, instead of like they're just feeding you stuff and you're regurgitating. Like they're not letting you bring your full ability to the table. That's another subject for another time. But I think the overall thing is this, like, it's the morality thing. Like, okay, you helping these kids cheat,
right?
And that's not cool
on any level.
On any level, but I mean, it's always been unbalanced. So that's something. That's something
if it's
that
unbalanced,
you have to.
And they're helping the kid to go where they might not have been able to go by boosting their grade, so that maybe they can get into this college
how does that help
or
them
get this tuition.
But how does that help them? How
does
that help them in the long run?
It helps them get into college.
Okay,
perhaps.
but once you get into college, maybe you get, because we know a lot of people who get into college, they don't even make it through their first year because they a lot
prepared.
They're not prepared. Right. They're not prepared. So all I'm saying is, and it all starts with the teachers. It starts like, okay, why is that student not learning? Mm-hmm. What is the teacher not interested in teaching the kid? Because they don't want to pay our teachers anything. Because you look at any other country,
right?
Teachers are glorified and put up on a pedestal. Like you go
as they should be.
You go over to Korea and Japan and places like that. That's why their salaries are up there, and that's why they're so far.
But it's not on the teacher. It starts at home, and maybe a lot of these kids, depending on if they're coming from low income situations, they don't have they're not inspired or pushed through their parents, and so teachers see this and they're trying to give them an opportunity that they might doubt themselves.
Okay, now check this out, and I'll give you a prime example. You remember the movie Lean on Me?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Okay, now there was a particular character. It was the girl, the young girl who got pregnant. I'm gonna make it fast. She wasn't getting any support at home. Because her mother didn't have the education level to help her with her homework or whatever. So where did she find that? Where did she find insight and help? School, teachers. That's where the teachers step in. But if you're not paying them and they're not interested in coming, and because most teachers, they do it because they love it.
And now that we see teachers using their own personal money in order to facilitate their ability to teach that
ain't cool. Most teachers got 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And as I was saying, like, if you
not to cut you off, but teachers in, say, the public sector versus the private schools where they are compensated commensurate to what they deserve.
But if you teach if you in a private school like in Beverly Hills or somewhere, them parents are going to pay.
Right.
They're going to pay. They're going to pay for the best education.
Exactly. But they're expecting you to deliver the best. Where in the public school system, a lot of times, the budgets that are sent to the educational parts of a community are very low.
The budgets are cut and everything. So what is that? So
first to get cut in most cases.
And that's what I'm saying. It trickles down and it affects the kids. The kids are the one who lose in the end. They're the ones that lose because there are kids that come to school, man, can't even have. They don't even have a decent. They don't have decent living conditions. They're not even getting properly fed. They're coming to school starving.
Right. Just looking for that lunch.
Right. Looking for that lunch.
You get a breakfast as soon as you get in. Maybe get a little lunch back.
There's a lot of factors, man. And
but Johnny, I didn't
mean to ramble on, but
No. It's just the notion that and Dre, I really feel I see where you're coming from. But as Johnny has stated, I really feel that there is absolutely no leveling of playing field that is occurring when there is cheating going on in order to expedite someone's educational ascension. Right. It just doesn't happen. You got to read every letter. You got to teach every word. You can't circumvent learning.
Right. Because here's the thing, and if we know the system is biased, then we have to fight for it. Like we have to lobby and have legislative. That's where the power starts. At the people who make the rules, who make the laws.
America's a melting pot, and therefore the education should be a mixture of everything for everybody, not just from one perspective. So the playing
It
field is
should.
not level. The kids aren't learning what they should to work within the sphere of what's going
Okay,
on.
so
Heavy.
what is your solution? What do
Well,
you,
no,
do?
you know,
You don't play
as a
the
matter of
game,
fact-
or you get a school at home. What do you do?
Well, we will have to continue
Yeah,
this discussion on another date, which will probably be next Thursday, because this is something very heavy. In the interim, I'm sure there'll be a number of things that will come up regarding this. Anything else, gentlemen, that we can get out before we close out tonight?
Formula R3. That's where it's at, man. Order today, please her tonight, and she'll love you in the morning. Trust me.
PCWFit.com, PCWFit on Facebook. Check it out. Lots of things going on.
For all the good people here at ManCave Live Show, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. We know there are many things you can do, but we enjoy the fact that you've shared this hour with us. We'll see you here next Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific. I am your main man, Lexington Steele, with Johnny Depp and Andre Lavelle. We are the Man
Hoorah.
Cave Live. See you next week. Peace.
Straight talk from our perspective. This is Man Cave Live with your host Lexington Steele and co-host Andre Lavelle and Johnny Depp on LA Talk Radio. Let's get it in.